Welcome back to Transfer Review, the show where we put silly season under the microscope. Silly season has only got, less than 2 weeks to go now.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's all hotting up, and I'm here with my good friend, Sam Abasaki. How's it going, mate?
I'm good. I'm good, me bro. Just surviving as you can do in this treacherous time, But we're alive. We're still watching ball, so can't complain too much. How you doing though, my bro?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, similar. But yeah, football keeps on going. The transfer market, in particular, keeps on going. I was reading earlier actually that Premier League clubs have actually spent more on transfers this window than they did last summer.
Wow.
Which is just madness when you consider the financial implications of everything that's happened this year, especially lower down the leagues and in other countries as well in terms of football. Let alone the wider economy. So I was pretty amazed to hear that. But we're kicking off in Spain, Sam.
Yes.
What's going on over there?
Yeah, it looks like Sergiño Dest is making his way to Barcelona. That comes off of the back of Nelson Semedo making his way to the Portuguese capital, that is Wolves, this week. They obviously confirmed his signing that is going to be 30 million euros. That could rise to 40 million euros with add-ons. And that obviously leaves Barcelona only with Sergio Roberto as the recognised right back. So, Barcelona are going to be busy trying to sort out his replacement. Norwich's Max Aarons initially looked like he was going to be the man, with reports suggesting on Tuesday that Barcelona were actually going to try and set a loan deal first of all, but then Norwich slapped them with the 30 million price tag, and the Blaugrana people then were not on it. And obviously Sergiño Dest was also on the books. So I think they tried to go with a cheaper option. The 19-year-old attracted interest from Bayern Munich also, who initially were thought to be in a better financial position. However, they made the signing of Semedo. They sold Semedo to Wolves and kind of recouped some of the money. And they thought, yeah, let's reinvest. And Sergiño Dest seems to be the man. Obviously, that price tag of 20 million euros, that is the initial deal, could rise to 25 million. This would represent a big win for Ronald Koeman, who obviously hasn't overseen any serious transfer since he's come in. Obviously, the signing of Pjanic and Coutinho coming back wasn't really anything to do with him. So that's going to be a big thing for him. And also the sales of Semedo and Suarez means that the Dutchman, he really isn't messing around. He's trying to get things going. He also said that Ricky Puig, who's actually seen as going to be a big player for Barcelona in the future, is not really in his plans. So he might be going out on loan as well. So Koeman's getting it done.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting to see just how just how little he really is messing about. I think there's been a lot of complaints over the way that Suarez has been treated in the last few months. Reports that Koeman basically told him that he was out as soon as he came in. So that's pretty sad for one of the club's greatest ever players. Let's face it. But apparently today, which is Thursday, we filmed this on a Wednesday, but this goes out on Thursday. So apparently today there is going to be some sort of kind of goodbye, I don't know, party. Probably not a party, but some sort of ceremony for Suarez today, because I think
I saw him crying. When I saw a video of him crying, leaving, and it actually made me upset, because he deserves a better send off than he's getting right now.
For sure, and everything. The way that whole kind of move to Atletico was kind of handled hasn't been great, and neither was the original move to Juve as well. All sorts of reports going around about that. But I digress. Let's get back to Sergiño Dest, because there will definitely be a few people wondering what he will bring to Barcelona. He's obviously very highly rated, and I guess something that Barca have been missing on that right flank is that attacking prowess, is that kind of creativity, that flair, which Nelson Semedo, although I don't think he's as bad a right back as a lot of people make out, but he certainly is not. He doesn't offer that. That's for sure. With someone like Jordi Alba getting older on the left flank and still being very over-reliant, the club's still over-reliant on him in the last couple of seasons, sorting out that right back position definitely has been imperative. And he is a very attack-minded fullback. He creates over a chance a game. He completes 1.5 dribbles, and he takes 1.3 shots as well for Ajax. Obviously, that's in the Eredivisie, so you're going to get more chances to shoot. I don't think he would get that in La Liga, but still a very, very proactive fullback. For comparison, Semedo managed a chance only every 2 games for Barcelona last season, and that's not even an anomaly. He's very rarely stumped up a key pass per 90 during his career at all. I don't think he's ever managed it at Barca. So getting that kind of creative force on the right, and obviously a very fast player as well, Sergiño Dest, obviously very young. I think that will give them a real outlet on that right flank. He wasn't the most active passer last season. I think Lisandro Martinez and Tagliafico were the bigger ball progressors from defence for Ajax. However, he is also excellent defensively. He wins 79% of his tackles and makes 3.4 tackles and interceptions per game, which is very impressive considering how dominant Ajax are. I think they average around 60% possession each match. So those are pretty great numbers, and also a sign that, you know, despite being a player who likes to get forward a lot, clearly his pace and his timing and his defensive intelligence means that he can cover too. Which are, these are the kind of qualities that Barcelona really, really need. That back line has looked far, far too slow in the last couple of years, especially in the last year when, you know, they were required to be doing a lot more pressing and whatnot, and it didn't really come off. I guess the only drawback you could argue is his age, because obviously at 19 he's going to be expected to come in and perform pretty instantly, unless Koeman has plans to play Sergio Roberto there initially, but I'm not sure that would be the case. But he does already have very good experience. He's only really had 1 full season at Ajax, and even that was curtailed. But he was racking up similar kind of minutes to Ziyech and Quincy Promes, so he was very quickly a key player in Amsterdam last term. He also made 7 appearances in Europe. And Koeman will be happy because from what I hear, he couldn't get him. I think he was quite keen for him to join the Dutch national team, but he instead opted for the States, where he also has heritage. So I think he's made 3 appearances for the US men's national team as well. So another very promising player for the future of American football as well. American soccer, I should add, not American football. That's a different sport, isn't it? I think that's all I've got to say on Dest. But Sam, would you be happy if you're a Barca fan with this business?
To be fair, if I'm being completely honest, I've only seen a few highlights of him. But every highlight of him I've seen, he's shown promise. He shows that he's quick. He's decision making. For me, this decision making at fullbacks is like imperative. Like that has to be up there, and he seems like he's got that at such a young age. So if he does get the time and the opportunity to kind of gel with the squad, I'm sure he'll be quality for them.
For sure, yeah, no, I agree. I mean, this deal could be on its way, could be done, or who knows, maybe Bayern Munich will have come in with a crazy last-minute offer and hijacked it by the time this goes out. I'm not so sure. I think Dest should be a Barcelona player with any luck. But what do you guys make of this deal? Do you reckon it's good for Barca? Do you reckon he's going to thrive at the Camp Nou? Let us know in the comments below.
All right, cool. So we're moving on to our last section this week, and that is EFD fixes, where we kind of, give you another option for maybe a transfer that you wanted and it didn't come in. You're upset, you're all sad, and that I understand. But we've got the solution. So, Mikey, what are we telling them?
Well, we're back at Man United this week. I know everyone's probably sick of hearing about Man United, but they are a club, unlike many others who really do have it all to do in the final 2 weeks of the window, don't they? And this week, it was reported by The Telegraph, apparently, that they have revived their interest in RB Leipzig centre-back Dayot Upamecano. Obviously, this is a man who was linked heavily with Arsenal at the start of the summer, was also being linked with United around the end of August, around the time that Donny van de Beek got secured. And obviously, since that opening day defeat to Crystal Palace, the club's transfer policy has come under even more scrutiny. Obviously, a lot of ex-players and journalists firing shots. I know Gary Neville's been very vocal.
They're at their necks.
They are. They are. I know. Yeah, like I said, Neville's been particularly vocal in the last few days. Obviously, Van der Beek's the club's only signing so far at the time of recording. Progress is also being made in negotiations for Alex Telles. Apparently that could be complete in the next few days or by the end of the week. We haven't had any fresh info on that. On Tuesday, things seem to be going well. Since then, it's been a bit quiet, so you never know what's going to be happening with that. But I would expect that United will secure a left-back. But obviously, they still need a centre-back, which we're going to look at today, and a right-winger, which I think is probably more imperative. And I think most people would probably agree, looking at the performance down the right of a player like Dan James on the weekend. No offence to the guy, but clearly shouldn't be the club's starting right winger, and even if Mason Greenwood is that regular starter, at the very least he needs a more quality backup. The Jadon Sancho situation looks to have gone pretty quiet, hasn't it? Dortmund director Sebastian Kehl confirmed this week the winger looks to be should be staying in Germany. A viable alternative in Isamaila Sarr looks to be on his way to Liverpool now, according to current reports. So that situation isn't looking great. But going back to the centre-back situation, I think the club have basically made clear that it isn't a priority unless they can shift some of the centre-backs who are currently at the club. And I think this is quite an important point. Smalling's move to Roma hasn't got anywhere in the last few weeks. The Italian club are unwilling to meet United's €20 million valuation. They've also failed to find a suitor for Marcos Rocco, and I don't know, as the window draws to a close, it's going to be a question of, are United going to settle for a reduced fee on these players, or are they just going to keep them in the squad and persevere next season? Meanwhile, Phil Jones isn't expected back from injury until mid-November. Obviously, that makes getting rid of him impossible. And then even a player like Axel Tuanzebe, who would have been staying this summer, is very injury prone. That's meant that Teden Mengi has been promoted from the youth setup, and he is very highly rated. Looks like a very promising prospect, but he is only 18. So you can't be expecting him to be starting in that defence. And I think I think it's just a sign of how muddled United's transfer policy has been this summer. Clearly just, weren't able to strike at the right time on deals. Jadon Sancho clearly were umming and ahhing too much. And as for the centre-back position, just haven't been able to shift the players that they wanted in order to raise the funds that they wanted to go for a player like, say, Upamecano. Because the best time to strike with him would have been back in June. He had a €60 million release clause then. That's since expired. And with the Bundesliga back underway, I just don't see Leipzig giving up another one of their star players unless it's for crazy money. And clearly, United don't want to be spending too much. So who should they go for instead, Sam?
Yeah, that's the big question. Obviously, Schalke's Ozan Kabak ticks all the boxes. A quality centre-back, but obviously he plays on the right-hand side of the back two, and that's where your captain plays. So unless he moves over or Lindelof doesn't get games, then obviously that will be something different. You could also go for Dortmund's Dan-Axel Zagadou, but obviously your dealings with Dortmund this season haven't been great. So, I'm guessing they're not really going to be trying to chat with Dortmund as well. So we've kind of opted for a different option. That's Villareal's Pau Torres, who's been linked with United before. He's only 23 years old, but he literally fits the profile perfectly. He's not the finished product, obviously, but he's got all the qualities that United are looking for right now. He's an excellent passer. He's completed 6.6 long balls a game, more than Upamecano, who United highly favour. He also leads Villareal defenders for passes into the final third with 3.1, which is half of the Frenchman's that Upamecano manages. However, obviously Leipzig are more of an attacking side, so we can't really compare those metrics. However, he isn't as busy defensively, just making 2 tackles and interceptions a game, and is not particularly strong in the air, winning just 44% of his aerial duels. So he's not good at that side. However, he is super quick. Like the guy's got burners, and he was in the Liga last term. He was top 10 fastest players. So that is something that United were struggling with last season. So if they're going to look at his age, if we're going to look at his stats as well, which isn't as bad, may not be better than Upamecano in certain areas, but he would be cheaper also, as he's been quoted to be around 40 to 50 million euros. So if they want to take a punt on a player that's got experience, that's got good stats, I think that Powell would be the guy. What do you reckon, Mike?
Yeah, I think he'd be a good option. I know there were United fans. I think he made his one of his first Spain appearances in the Nations League, and he made a couple of mistakes. I think there was a few United fans online who came down hard on him for that, especially considering United were more strongly linked with him back at the start of the month. So I mean, I don't think he's the perfect option, but he is left-sided. Like you say, he's super quick. I think his defensive numbers could improve. Obviously, his aerial presence could definitely improve. But he's not a small lad. He is 6'3". So that is an area that I think he could improve in. And clearly his passing is pretty decent as well. So all in all, I think, he would be a decent option. Whether he's an option at this point, I'm not so sure. Because I think in the last 2 weeks of the window, I think clubs are going to really be charging a premium, especially with a club like United, who are known for getting into these kind of muddles and then overspending on players. It's definitely a player I'd take with a little bit with a pinch of salt. I think also the last time we signed a ball-playing centre-back from Villareal, it was Eric Bailly. So if you're looking at omens, maybe not the best one, because Eric Bailly was highly rated, and I rated Bailly a lot when we bought him. But obviously it didn't work out. I don't know. Actually, he's still on the books, isn't he? And he will be at least back up this term. So hopefully, never know. Bailly may come good eventually. We'll see. But yeah, I think he's a player who's definitely worth keeping an eye on. I think this window probably not, but maybe next summer, if United are still in the market for a centre back, Pau Torres would be worth a revisit, I think. But what do you guys make of that? Let us know in the comments below. And I think it's probably about time we wrap this up. Oba, where should the lovely people at home go next if they enjoyed this?
They should just check out all our channels. To be honest, we reached a milestone on EFD. Come on,
yes, 400k
FD as well. 400k. We're trying to get to 500k. $500,000. So get your friends, get your family to subscribe. We've got content coming daily. We want the podcast channel to reach at least 50k by the end of the year. Give us a little gift. We've been putting in a lot of work to keep you guys happy and stuff. But apart from that, I think that's it for me, Mike. What about you?
Fair. I think you've covered all bases, to be honest. Yeah, super buzzing about 400k. Obviously, subscribe if you haven't done so already. What are you doing? Especially if you've made it this far as well. So yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, and take care.
Thanks, guys.